Welcome in to Target Score Postgame Live. I'm Joey Slattery. And I was wrong about a few things. Tough one for the Sea Bears out in Vancouver tonight. Sea Bears finished second in the West. Will host that first game of the the postseason, rather. Then after that, it's up in the air, all depending on what Edmonton will do when they play Vancouver on Thursday night. Currently, Edmonton is down to Ottawa. Ottawa fighting for their playoff lives. Another great game on CEBL. I'll try to keep you updated on that as we go forward. The score literally went away as I looked up, but I know Ottawa is winning in that one. A ton to get to in this one. Get in the comments. You can breathe. As I forget to turn off my music again. Wow, not the only one that's a little off today, but get in the comments. Let me know how you feel. Questions, you just want to vent. Let it all out. I'm here for you, man. I'm here for you. A tough one there for the Sea Bears. We knew the travel was going to be a tough one for Winnipeg here tonight or today. Got there this morning. I think a little bit of it was that. But the other part of it was, thank you. I turn off your notifications too. I actually did forget to do that. All right. Good job, Guy. Thanks for the reminder here. We knew it was going to be a tough go for the Sea Bears. I think that didn't come to a surprise to anybody. That start was tough. I mean, it's hard to overcome a 17-2 run from the Bandits in the first part of the game till the first time out. That's what it was when Mike Rainbow called the timeout, 17-2. I think a little bit was fatigue from the travel, but that you can't place everything on that. That's for sure. It was Vancouver was a team that took full advantage of the fatigue and never looked back. They did not give up a lead at all in that game. Winnipeg did not lead at all in this game, and everybody was getting touches in Vancouver. No one more than Michael Mulder, who had his best. He saved his best for last. He had his best game of the year. He was near perfect from the field. He had one missed shot in total. It was one three-pointer. He was, I believe it was 7 for 8, was he? To pull this up real quick. He just want to make sure I have it right. Where are my, I don't even know what I did with my standings. We're all out of sorts here, guys. We are all out of sorts. Here we go. Where are we? Off the bench. 29 points. He was 7 for 8 from 3. 87% from three-point land, 91% overall. He did not miss a 2-point shot. Did not go to the free throw line. He had 5 rebounds to go along with an assist and a steal, or a block, rather. This is what Winnipeg was kind of hoping for, right? You'd have guys step up when things weren't going so well. Another tough one out there for Teddy tonight. Tough one for Moon. Emmanuel Aycott played great. There were some positives in this game, and we will get to that. But, and I also want to say Isaiah Osborne, despite not popping on the stat sheet, I thought he played really well tonight, trying to get the team into it. It's just nothing was going for the Sea Bears tonight, man. 37% from the field. 30 for 81, 32% from 3. Just not the kind of shooting you need for the playoffs, that's for sure. So again, this might be some blessing in disguise in terms of at least this wasn't a playoff game, because if it were, they'd be cleaning out their lockers, and they have not done well in these playoff test games, as Mike Rainbow has been calling them. This is a team that is starting to, show its wear a little bit. I don't know if it's, guys just losing rhythm or trying to play with other guys. It's really hard to say at this point. Then people give them credit for. It's not going to be easy. I mean, Tavian Dunmartin's one of my favorite players in this league, and he's been on fire. He's another guy that's been setting franchise records and is Don't know what happened there. Sorry. That was weird. Got kicked out of my own studio. Is Chris Wiggins in here doing stuff? Chris Wiggins might be coming in. Not too sure if he'll be here. Hoping he can join in. I want to say he did a great job on the call. It was a melee for him. He was the one who found the reporter and the color commentary guy, and I thought he did a phenomenal job for a guy who's never done it before and had no time to prep for it. Was fully prepped for his sideline duties and had to step in. Did a great job there. It was a tough one here. I want to see where the Osborne. This is from Alex Marshall. Thanks for tuning in, Alex. Yeah, Osborne's still in a slump, but again, he does all the other things. I felt like there were a few players that did the right things, even though they weren't scoring. The shots weren't falling for Winnipeg tonight. But my problem wasn't with the offense. I think the real concern is the defense. I mean, Vancouver was having their way, right? Mitch Creek took a while to get going, but once he did, he was having a great game. Here, I'll pull up the. Because of that, I lost my. Here, 1 second. Let me get this pulled up here. Box score. Is that the one I wanted? Here's the one here, just the general. Take a look at this here. Michael Mulder, 29 points. Mitch Creek had 28, including the target score winner. He seemed to get going as the game went on. Shamar Givens is just so good. Like he was the best guard on the floor tonight. It wasn't even close. I mean, he was slicing through the defense. He was setting up teammates. Was it 14 assists that he ended up with? Shamar Givens had 18 assists. 18 assists Shamar Givens had. And Michael Mulder was red hot. I mean, sure, will they have this again? I doubt it. I doubt you're going to have that much ease even next game against Edmonton. But this is a humbling loss for Winnipeg going into the playoffs. Not the feeling that you want. It's not what you need from a guy like Jeremiah Tillman Jr. I did find at times he was getting the support on the boards. I mean, you look at even after the first quarter, Winnipeg had 7 offensive boards, right? Like they had more offensive boards than they had defensive rebounds, but they weren't putting it in the net. And, like you look back at it and it just got away. You can't say that it was a one possession game. This is by far the worst loss of the season for Winnipeg, saving their worst for last in this case. But, they were 21% in the first quarter and they were hucking up whatever they could. What I will say about Winnipeg is how the game ended. If you look at here, I'll bring up the stats one more time here. I'll bring up this one. So you look at the quarters, right? Awful first quarter. It gave up nearly 30 points, only had 12. They chip away in the second. They lost that quarter 25-21. They actually won the third quarter, 25 points in the third quarter, 24 to 24, or Vancouver's 24. And then you look at that fourth quarter. They had 32 points, but Vancouver had 36. They couldn't get it going today. What I will say, the things that stuck out to me that I think are huge positives is the body language was fine throughout the whole game. The fight was still there. This wasn't a lack of effort. It was, I think there were some mental lapses. I think there was a little fatigue, but I did feel like the team fought right through. Like I didn't feel like guys were giving up, and there was some frustration that I felt did not boil over, at least between teammates on the floor. But it's a tough one. You were kind of hoping, that they would go in there and try to use whatever adrenaline they had. But like let's be fair. It's not easy when you go into a city where you're supposed to be there the night before. You're derailed because of weather. You're landing somewhere else. You get off the plane for 30 minutes. You're back on the plane. You're going back to the other place. You're staying overnight in Edmonton, and then you're getting on the plane first thing in the morning. Probably didn't get much sleep. You're out there at 9:00 for a day game. That's even though it was delayed, it's still a day game. And, your routines are thrown off, but, you still have to play through that. And at the end of the day, first was on the line in the Western Conference, and they weren't up for the task. And Vancouver looks really good, and they look really confident. Do I think they're that much better than Winnipeg? Not a chance. Not a chance. But they set the tone right off the hop. They knew what they were getting into, and they knew what Winnipeg was coming in with, and they put the nails to them, man. It was just, that game was almost over as soon as it started. And, you got to shake this one off and look to the playoffs. But here's the thing. I don't see Vancouver losing to Edmonton. And if Winnipeg does, slay those demons, so to speak, in the first round of the playoffs, you got to go back to Vancouver. And your last time you were there, it did not go so good. So, it's It's a tough one here. Going to get to some text here, and I got Chris Wiggins waiting. I'll bring you right on there in a second there, Chris. Where's the I was in the car after a huge wait. Arloan. I was in the car after a huge wait at Burrito Splendido and thought the legs were my phone. Dude, that's what it felt like. Like it lagged at times. There was nothing clicking. Emmanuel Acott played great. I thought that was one of his better games of the season, if not his best game of the season. Again, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. He had emotion. He had energy. There was a lot of good things going on with Emmanuel Acott. I thought Simon Hildebrandt played well. Again, Isaiah Osborne not hitting his shots, but getting it done on defense. He, forced some turnovers, tried to get some steals. But Winnipeg certainly was not able to capitalize. And now they find themselves in second place. So, again, like I said, this really didn't matter other than home court advantage. Home court hasn't been as friendly to Winnipeg. And I think this is a stern reminder that, hey, hopefully the travel goes smoother next time you're on the road. But also, you got to find that energy regardless, because now there is no excuses. This was your last game of the season.
Gate start now for Mike Mulder. And look, Mitch Creek is going to give this team a boost whether he plays well or not. Just his presence alone is going to make a big difference. Clearly that rubbed off on everybody as well. And you wonder if Kyle Julius being in attendance, seeing his face again gave everybody a boost too. But for real though, I do feel bad for Winnipeg. I really do, because obviously Coach Rands was saying, just run as fast as you can tonight, run every possession. And you saw it at the start of the game. They leaked out every it felt like that 17-2 run off the start of the game was just all fast break points, maybe aside from a 3 or 2, but the rest were fast break points. And I said to Levon on the call, I haven't seen Vancouver run like this all season. They've tried to, but they haven't had the success in transition like they have all season as well.
Well, the guy who was running the most was Shamar Gibbons, and we saw him do that in Vancouver. 18 assists. I mean,
that's a. I believe. Let me get it right now. I asked too late in the CBL group chat, and I wish I had it on broadcast, but I'm. One sec. Yes, it sets a franchise record and league record, 18 assists.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, but look, I do feel bad for Winnipeg. That's so out of your control with the flight stuff. Sounds like it was a bit of both WestJet and weather. I had a chance to talk to David Asper before the game, and he was he was not happy about it either. I don't blame him, man. It's just shitty timing with luck. And they land in Abbotsford at 9 a.m. Pacific before a 2 o'clock tip off, before the biggest game of the season to decide home court advantage for the Western Conference playoffs. That's kind of unfair. If it was the first or second game between these two teams early in the season, I wouldn't feel bad if travel stuff happens, but that's a really shitty hand to be dealt, and have it be out of your control for the biggest game of the season. That's, it sucks.
Well, totally. And I know, it's funny because even at the home game, David Asper was talking about that because it was shades of last year, championship weekend, where we weren't sure who was going to show up to Winnipeg for championship weekend because Air Canada was on strike, right?
Right.
Things are out of your control, and, you control what you can. But, it seemed like Vancouver was having fun out there. And part of it is the legs for sure, but I'm not going to place it all in the legs. I think there was many times where it's just miscommunication. Maybe it was a little bit of mental lag, but you got to play through that adversity. And that first quarter, that 17-2 run to open the game.
Yeah. I thought the game was over right there.
But it pretty much was. They never led since then,
really
and Vancouver led by as much as 33. I liked the fight from Winnipeg at the end, in target score time and not giving up. The one thing that I noticed, and you were there in person, but the thing that impressed me is their body language. Even though
Winnipeg's,
even though things weren't going their way, but at least from TV, you didn't see a lot of yapping, you didn't see a lot of slumped shoulders.
There was a little from Teddy. DJ Burns had a little bit of comments for some refs. He went back and forth with referees a little bit. I know him and Shamar kind of had some words later in the game too. But for the most part, like, yeah, they certainly weren't like moping, but yeah, man, I don't know. Like, it's just, this is literally too much Chris Wiggins already. All right, I'm happy to head into this bar here. And I have a driver. My brother-in-law is in the seat beside me, so we can wrap this up. I don't mind spending more time with him.
They're sounding fun.
I know.
Here's the see, this is another one from Silver Tip Trilla. Sea Bears have been sliding for almost a month. This is saying something, especially since the team has pretty much been together for the year. Less Moon. Other teams have just have more firepower. And I think that's what's frustrating Sea Bears fans here too, is like, as much as, they had that working against them, some of the stuff we saw has been trending a little bit. Right. Mm-hmm. And it may have less to do with the fatigue part, but I think it just enhanced it. Like, I don't think Vancouver, I don't think this game is as much of a blowout as it was, like if it's under normal circumstances, but I do think that Vancouver would have exploited some of the things that have been exploited before, because Vancouver came here, it wasn't as a blowout like this, but they came here and took care of business, and it was the same guys, the usual suspects, Shamar, Givens. I know Karnik is out and Berlin's on,
man. Like,
but
if
Givens
he's right now, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Givens has been unbelievable. Like, I mean, it started in Montreal. I think he had a couple good games before that, not like the game in Montreal. And like, maybe this momentum with Shamar Givens is like perfect timing for, a deep playoff run. If Mike Mulder stays hot, like, he's going to stretch the floor like crazy. Mitch Creek creates so many eyeballs, creates so many, like, you can't leave Mitch, and, you can't lose sight of Mitch. Like, keep in mind, this is without Tyrese, without Jarkel Joyner, without James Karnik. Like, I don't know, man. I actually liked what I saw from Steven Zimmerman as well. Like,
Zimmerman played really well.
As slow as he can be, like, and I know he's probably out of shape just because he hasn't played in a while, but like 12 boards, 9 points. What's crazy to me is how good Mike Mulder shot. He's only +4 in the plus-minus category. 29, he didn't hardly miss a shot. He's only +4.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting stat.
Even with Zimmerman, he was eating him up on the pick and roll, like between him and Mitch Creek, like they were just having their way in the pick and roll. Like Winnipeg seemed like they were not collapsing. The rebounding I thought was actually the best part of Winnipeg's game early on was the offensive rebounding. But they couldn't turn them into points. Right? Like, at least if you're turning those into points, you give yourself a shot. But, I think Vancouver did a phenomenal job of just, making sure they were getting in the way of all the shots. They made all the shots tough on Teddy. Xavier Moon had spurts where he was, hitting his shots, but he never really got his rhythm going. Emmanuel Acott, caught fire towards the end, but it took everybody a while to get going, which was kind of the expectation. But it's, I just thought Vancouver, you wouldn't know that those guys were missing. Like, this is, because you and I talked about it before too, when we were talking about, when everything was kind of first starting to happen, like when everybody was leaving, the Kyle Julius things. And, even you were saying, like, I think Winnipeg has us in the bag. And it was kind of we'll see what happens, because like there's plenty of season to play and you never know what happens with rosters. But there's been no change in the Winnipeg roster, right? Other than Moon coming in, which is a huge benefit. I got to give credit to Rans Brempong and what he's been able to do with this Vancouver team, because they're meshing. And today that looked like a team that has played every day since day one and, had a winning streak like the Scarborough Shooting Stars. Like they just look like they were having a lot of fun.
But you're right. I when I got on the call before you brought me on to the show, like I heard you saying, do I think Vancouver's that much better than Winnipeg? No, I don't. And I agree with you. Like, and it's going to be Winnipeg and Vancouver right back here on Saturday. Like, it's just, that's the way it's going to work out. In my opinion, like, I think, I don't think Edmonton and Sask are there yet, but that's my opinion, seeing things up close. It's funny how much you really remember from a game when you're on a play-by-play mic
compared to sideline mic.
Yeah. Right. Like, yeah. Anyways,
100%. Because
but I think we're going to be right back here on Saturday, same matchup for the conference championship. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, they have to have a much better effort than they did against Saskatoon. When I say, and I shouldn't even say effort, I keep using the word effort by habit. And Ottawa is up 81-65 for those interested in that other game being played right now in Edmonton. Ottawa looking to clinch their spot. I actually thought, again, watching from TV, I thought it wasn't an effort thing. It seemed to me more to be miscommunication, maybe a little fatigue in there. And even the mental lapses, again, probably didn't sleep much last night, and you're, rushing to check into a hotel. And then you're back, maybe sleeping for an hour or two, and then you're back on the bus, getting to the airport, flying into Abbotsford at 9:00. But it's tough. It was a humbling loss for Winnipeg. And as much as I want to give them that benefit of the doubt, I just think there were too many things that have been trending with this team too. And the trends have kind of showed that that they have to tighten up on a few things. Again, they played really good against Ottawa, right? But it was kind of like Vancouver. It's your last home game. It's a sellout. The vibes are high. Things are going well. Nothing was really going wrong with Ottawa. And as the game went into that, other than Javonte Smart scoring 1 million points, but then you get into the fourth quarter, and they in the target score time, and they shut it down. And tonight, that's again a strong target time. I will say that from Winnipeg, it was impossible to climb back, but I thought in target time they played pretty well. They had 32 points in the fourth quarter.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed. Yeah, there were a couple of comments that I was like in my own head going, Chris, maybe don't say Vancouver is going to play Edmonton this early yet, but I thought you did a really good job, because I was at points I was like, I'd say it's done. And you were like, they can get this done. I'm like, they're up 30. They probably will. Well, for the first one, I'd rather be safe than sorry. But man, we've seen some insane comebacks this season, right? I got to get going and spend some time with family here. But I think we're going to be right back here on Saturday. Scarborough's gonna break the record probably with 20 wins this season. And I thought Winnipeg, if they had that same fight in late fourth quarter, target score time, even for early fourth quarter, if that Winnipeg team showed up earlier, maybe this game is a lot different. But the problem is, if WestJet goes on strike on Sunday, that may affect playoff games on Thursday and Saturday too. So maybe tell Asper to book with Flair or something. I don't know. Or everybody hop on Asper's PJ.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. No, it's again, out of the control. And that's what I said in the pregame was, hey, maybe this is a reminder of how much you need home court advantage. You don't want to go through this again. But hey, it is what it is. Humbling loss for,
man. It was loud in there. At times I couldn't hear keep wanting to say Javon Levon, and he's right beside me. He's not the loudest talker, right? I mean, you and I are maybe trained to project a little bit more, but there were times where I was like, I didn't hear what you said, so I'll just nod.
You guys did a great job, and it seemed like it was rocking in there. Big win for Vancouver. I mean, big confidence booster. Everybody got in. Mitch got his feels, got his rhythm in this game. So things are looking good for Vancouver, and back to the drawing board for Winnipeg as they have to figure out how to bounce back from this one. But
it'll be fun to watch, man. CBL playoffs are always electric.
Yeah, man, we'll catch up with you a little later, man. Have fun with the family.
Sounds good. Ciao, bye.
All right, talk to you later. That was Chris Wiggins, play-by-play voice today of the Vancouver Bandits, normally the sideline reporter. Yeah, better charter a plane for Saturday. They might look into that, but no, it's a tough one. Here we got Silver Tip Trilla. As the season has gone on, Teddy has slowly been losing his cool more and more. Teddy needs to decide what version of him we get, and if he lets his head out of the game. I think this one, I don't think it's as bad with Teddy as we've seen it in the past. As we watch the highlights here of the game that just happened. I think this one was frustrating for everybody. Again, I wasn't there. Chris said there was a few times where there was some issues. I thought overall they handled it really well. There's one time even I think it was in the first quarter, there was, they were already down, it's past 17-2 at that point. And Tillman Jr., goes up and takes a foul, and he's going to the foul line. And, there's smiles, in terms of just hey, let's keep playing. Let's keep pushing. Right. And I did feel at times they kind of got their rhythm very few times. And it was mainly in the fourth quarter. But as I'm saying, with that fight at the end, it builds some momentum going into this game on Thursday. And if you could, again, let's just say you do play Saskatoon really well and you put them away early, you can't be too high. You got to put that behind you and get to the next round. Even when they were leaving, it was just kind of shake hands and get out of there. There was no BS at the end. There was no shoving, no pushing, no major shoves with the refs. And maybe, We've just seen a lot of that from around the league this year, and even in our gym from other teams. I thought they handled themselves very professionally, and I think they understand that it's a tough loss, and it's what we got to deal with. Can't dwell on it. You just got to keep going, and you got to keep moving on. So we'll see if that happens. We've got another one here from Alex Marshall. I believe the Allen Moon experiment is a failure. It's not working. The Sea Bears have no offense. It's just one-on-one ball. I beg to differ, Alex. Appreciate your comment. I think in this one, Vancouver just made it too hard. They were getting in the passing lanes. They were doubling Teddy. And there was a couple times where Teddy just didn't have a plan outside of it, right? There was too much pressure, and he was just throwing it out like late in the end before he was subbed off. He just kind of threw it in the key, hoping someone was there. Xavier Moon, I think, is the opposite of that. I mean, he's had double-digit assists many times throughout this season. He's only played 5 times, but he's had at least 2 games that I can think of off the top of my head where he's had double digits in assists. I don't think that's the problem, man. I think the big problem right now is just the communication part of things, and mainly on defense. Today they were getting shots, they just weren't falling. And that is not on Teddy or Xavier Moon. We saw, Isaiah Osborne miss some shots. I mean, when you're 30 for 81, Teddy Allen took 15 of those shots and Moon took 12. Isaiah Osborne took 13. He was 4 for 13, right? Hildebrandt was 2 for 9. Watson Gale was 2 for 9. DJ Burns was 4 for 6. And Emmanuel Acott was 7 for 10. He was 70% from the field in this game. But, I don't think it's safe to say that it's not working. I do think they're better in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, they have to put it together consistently. You can't have everybody go off. It was nice to see everybody kind of have Teddy's back in that first game when things weren't going well. When I say that first game, I mean the game in Ottawa. But you gotta bring that together a lot more consistently. I just want to replay these highlights here and kind of point out. But this was happening a lot. Just on the run, no real contest on the shot, and it's tough with Mitch Creek. But here, where is everybody? It's too late, wide open, and the ball movement, they're just slicing through the defense. It's too easy. And part of that might be the legs from the Jet. I get it. It was a tough night. It was a tough morning. It is what it is. But, that was Jordan Knight III on that one. And, everybody was getting in on Vancouver. Shamar Givens was, dictating everything. He had, as we said, 18 assists. It's a record. But they, every time Winnipeg had a basket, Vancouver had an answer. They just never let them get in the game or get in any kind of big run. Again, they're, offensive board, too easy, stuff it inside, no one there. It's just a lot of, I don't even want to say ball watching. It's just kind of out of position, not knowing where anybody is, right? Again, follow up. Where's the box out on that? And this is what we see time after time after time. Just, that was a decent closeout from Hildebrandt, but again, there's just the dictation of the game. They know where they are. They're getting in their spots. They're finding them in their spots. And Winnipeg was just a step behind on everything. We needed more of that from Xavier Moon. But again, the game was out of hand off the hop. It's hard to come back when you're down 17-2 in the first 5 minutes. That's just a recipe for disaster. John McTavish saying last 2 games, I've noticed Teddy tripping at the refs more too. Yeah. And you know what? It's probably because things are not going well, right? And then you start wanting the calls. And, Teddy had some favorable ones tonight too. Vancouver was upset with a few calls as well, but you're not complaining as much when you're winning. And I think the reason why we're seeing Teddy and the guys getting a little more frustrated, they've lost 4 of the last 6. So that is part of the problem, right? When you're losing, the emotions get high. You're going to start looking for calls, complaining for no calls. We saw Mike Rainbow call out a referee after the game against Brampton. But you have to get over it. To your point, you guys are all bringing this up. You have to put this behind you, and you can't let it lead to easy baskets. Here's Silvertip again. Everything that I've heard about Moon is that he has no ego. He's an ultimate team guy, great locker room, great teammate. I have no reason to believe that's the issue, and you're 100% right. Xavier Moon is a very well-respected guy in this locker room, and he's the guy when things aren't going well. He's not yelling at guys. He's not making guys look dumb or, pointing them out in front of everybody and, making a fit. He's a very professional, poised point guard. But he can't do it all himself either, right? And guys have to hit shots. He's getting the ball to guys, and they're missing shots. But also, there were a few bad passes from not just him, but from other players as well, where you have to give Vancouver credit. Sometimes your defense is just better than the offense. And I think that was a part of it tonight. Vancouver was able to get in those passing lanes, and if the passes were getting through, it was no rhythm and no spot, as we see another, wide open pass. But this is what Vancouver was doing, getting out on the run, finding the holes, and threading the needle, right? Another pick and roll. That was a good contest, but it is what it is. You got to live with that. But it's the pick and roll. Like, why is he getting that much of a run here? It's, when you watch it over, you really can tell how much more difficult it was for Winnipeg to get those baskets. Go back to Silvertip here. Agree about the defense. The offense wasn't great, but the defense was way worse. But defense is effort, and amongst all the outside factors, this can be fixed in normal circumstance. And 100%. Like, I don't. Again, I'm just hesitant to use the word effort because I don't think that it was them not trying or giving up. Like, that was the one thing that kind of stuck out to me was, he wasn't. They weren't giving up. Like, they were fighting towards the end. They were trying to build that momentum in target score time, right? And I don't think it was as much as like, hey, we're going to make this massive comeback. Obviously, that's what you're aiming for. But it was more like, hey, we got to get into playoff shape here. Like, we have no more chances, right? And Mike Rainbow said, it was all playoff emulation moving forward, and they've lost all but one game since he said that, maybe two games. But either way, it's hard to emulate that playoff feel. They're not playing like a playoff team, and you really hope that there's a conversation here that just and I don't know what the conversation goes like. I don't know if it's a sit down players only kind of go. I don't think it's there. I don't think it's that bad. It might be a little heightened because now it is playoffs and you're coming off that loss. But I think the conversation probably goes like, hey, we're better than that. And we know it. I think this is a good team that has, a lot of championship caliber on this too. Xavier Moon's a two-time champ. Excuse me. It's rude of me. Two-time champion. Jeremiah Tillman Jr. has won a championship as well. These are guys that have, that know what to do and know when the urgency needs to pick up. I think if you see this in the playoffs and, they went on a 15-2, 17-2 run, I think you'd see guys like Xavier Moon stepping up and, maybe being a little more vocal on the angry side of things. But in the meantime, you can't rattle the confidence, right? And the one thing I've liked about these guys, even with Isaiah Osborne struggling, he's got to keep shooting. We want him to keep shooting. We're going to give him the ball. He needs to keep shooting. Update 86-82 now. Ottawa's getting target score time. Target score is 95. Ottawa. Oh, this is a good game. This is a good game. But even, Jeremiah Tillman Jr., three fouls today. Again, like, not terrible, but I just would like him to, stay away from the fouls as much as possible. Like, they need him on the floor. There's 100%. And here's the thing. This team is built on defense. Like, that's the other thing. Like, this is a team that has made their name on defense. At the beginning of the year, that's what was winning the games. Remember that first Edmonton game? What was the final score in that? Like 79-77 or something dumb? Like, but it was the defense. Like, that's what they do. And when they're playing their best, Teddy Allen is getting his steals. Teddy Allen is getting in passing lanes. Teddy Allen didn't have his best defensive game tonight. And there was one point where, the color commentator says something along the lines of, doesn't like to play defense. I don't know why this keeps happening. I'm so sorry. But he was saying, I thought it was unfair that he said about Teddy. But to be fair, like, Teddy's defense hasn't been as sharp as it's been in the past. Like, the steals have started to be fewer and far between, and that might be a scouting thing. Guys know what to expect from him now. We've seen, though, the other thing, teams going out on the run. And that's a thing that Winnipeg was doing so well for so long. Winnipeg has to get back into doing what other teams are doing to them, right? Get those steals, get in the passing lanes, shoot the gap, and get in transition and turn them into points. Gritty to pretty. And we haven't seen a lot of gritty to pretty from the Sea Bears here in the last few games. Even that Ottawa game. Like, I think Ottawa, just ran out of gas in the fourth quarter, and Winnipeg was playing phenomenal, kind of like Vancouver, just hitting more shots, getting their feel. Everybody was getting a touch and we're collapsing inside on the, in the paint when Ottawa was making any kind of drive. They were making every shot difficult. Javonte Smart, if it's not for him, it's a blowout. But when they get to play Vancouver and they're playing the Western teams or the teams that are, already in playoff contention, Brampton again that game, right? Like those were guys that were desperate to clinch their playoff spot, and they looked like it. Is Winnipeg that desperate team now? Like, do they feel the desperation of a must-win game? They haven't had many. Like, this is the closest thing they've had to one. And I don't know. That's like the biggest question going into it. I think they're going to be fine, but it's tough. And like I've said time and time again, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but this team has never had a playoff win. So that's why I'm not quick to be like, yeah, see you Saturday, Chris. Like that's going to take some time. Like they got to get through Thursday. They cannot be thinking about the rematch in Vancouver. That's the other difficult part of this. Like you're so angry and frustrated with this win, 87-87 right now, Ottawa and Edmonton. Whew. But you're so frustrated with this win and you want your other crack at Vancouver. You can't overlook the fact that you have Saskatoon first. And Saskatoon's beaten you this year. They're playing really well right now. Right? They've got their pieces. They've got a real shot. I don't think Winnipeg is certainly the favorites. I expect them to win, but I expected Winnipeg to win tonight. Even with the jet lag, I thought it'd be closer. I thought it'd be at least a close loss. I wasn't expecting a blowout. I said as much. I think I said I don't expect a 30-point game. We almost got that. It was wild. If it weren't for that target score time, it could have been a real bad blowout. Especially if they gave up in target score time. So. Stat guy Ty coming in the clutch here. Teddy only has 3+ steals in 2 of the past 12 games. Right. And that was kind of his bread and butter on defense. That was what was changing the narrative. And it's lagging a little bit. Again, you have guys like Isaiah Osborne and Moon that are getting in those passing lanes that are shooting the gap. Like I think Isaiah Osborne doesn't always come up as a steal, but how much he disrupts offenses around the perimeter, and any even just not even inside the perimeter. He's just good at making passes difficult for the other team. But tonight there was none of that. There was a few. There was one I can remember. I don't even remember what quarter it was, where Isaiah Osborne, causes a turnover, and it's kind of like helter-skelter to get the ball, but it doesn't turn into transition. It was just like knock the ball up, go get it. Winnipeg didn't get any bounces either, which didn't help. But everything just worked against them today. But I don't want to say, everything worked against them, bad bounces, and they were off the plane. It's all good because, again, and I can't remember who brought it up, but I think I displayed it. These are things that we've noticed a little bit over time of these things starting to trend in the wrong direction. For those just tuning in, thanks. Appreciate you being here. Tough one here for the Sea Bears. They lose this one 114-90 to the Vancouver Bandits. Make sure you're liked and subscribed to this channel. I'm at Joey Slattery TV on Instagram. The podcast is at Target Score Pod on Instagram. Appreciate you tuning in here today. We went through the highlights, went through the stats. I'll probably go through all one more time before we wrap up here, but just a difficult day for the Sea Bears. Did not shoot well from the field, struggled to find their rhythm. Michael Mulder was just on fire. I mean, we talk so much about Winnipeg. Doesn't help when Michael Mulder, who just, I think before this, his season high was 25 points. And I don't think he's hit 20 points any game aside from that one and this one. Michael Mulder came out to play and had a career game here in the CEBL. Kind of lived up to the hype that when he came in here, the former Golden State Warrior, maybe they called him the Splash Brother at the end, Tyrese Samuel. And Tyrese Samuel wasn't in the lineup either. So expect him if they play him again in the playoffs. It's a tough one, man. It is a tough one. You too, Andrew. I don't know if that means you're taking off, but good to see you, pal. Bring this one up. This was a good one. That's just kind of ironic or coincidental that this day last year was also a lopsided loss for the Sea Bears in Vancouver, although it wasn't the end of the season at that point. This season started a little bit earlier. Trying to get through as many as I can here for the Sask is no slouch. It's far from a gimme. They need to show out and play within themselves, or it could be an early exit, and that's always the concern with this team. And here, Marsh Mamba here. Thanks for tuning in. The narrative of Allen being anything other than a scorer is crumbling. We have a taste of what it's like when Teddy isn't scoring. Turnovers, forcing awful shots, getting blown by on defense. I'll say this. Those quote terrible shots are happening when they're falling too, right? Like Teddy Allen is not your traditional shooter. He's not that. Teddy buckets for a reason, and a lot of it is because it's unconventional the way that he scores and the shots that he takes. It sticks out like a sore thumb when they're not falling, and I think that's what we're seeing in these last few games. They're just not falling, so it sticks out a little bit more. Again, you had that 54-point game where when it's all falling, you can see how good it goes. The getting blown by on defense, I think in the last couple of games it has. And that, again, I know it's a short season, but it's a grind season, 24 games. And there's a lot on Teddy. He's playing nearly 30 minutes a game, if not more than 30 minutes a game. And Moon has only been here 5 games. He's playing a lot, but, that's another benefit that's supposed to be a benefit is he's here kind of fresh, brings in a fresh perspective. And they're just not finding their mojo here towards the end, other than that Ottawa game and that first game against Montreal. But again, Montreal, I said it at the time, they didn't have their full roster, and they won't have their full roster for the playoffs. Hence why, Ottawa, if they can win this, and they might on this foul shot here, we're going to get a live one here. Paul, pardon me as I watch this. I'll give you the pseudo play-by-play. And on a foul shot, they missed the foul shot to win. Edmonton, it's 94-89, target scores 95. And Edmonton, almost an air ball here, so Ottawa should clinch it here. So if Ottawa scores on this possession, the playoffs will be set. And I honestly think Ottawa should be in the playoffs. I can't see the shot clock. 13 seconds left here. Smart has the ball at the top, just in front of half court. He's on Tay Donald. Dribbling, letting the shot clock go down, takes a drive, tough shot, no. And rebound, no foul on that play. Okay, so Edmonton staying alive, but sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at once here. But nonetheless, it's this is a playoff scenario now that Winnipeg is used to. They played at home many times in the playoffs in their 4-year tenure, and they've not won, right? And if you recall that first Edmonton one, that first year in the Edmonton series, and I call it a series because Edmonton needed to win the game to make the playoffs, I think it was, and then the Seabears had home advantage in the play-in game. That's what it was. The Seabears would have got the bye in the play-in game, but because they lost, they had to play in the play-in game against Edmonton, who crept into the playoffs, and then Edmonton came back 6 days later and beat Winnipeg on their home floor, right? And even back then, it was like, Winnipeg will bounce back. And they didn't. So I appreciate that, stat guy Ty. A little far from that. Andrew's like, sorry, man, thought you were signing off. No, I will be soon, though. I will be soon. I don't want to be beating a dead horse here, but this Ottawa game, I want to see it end. And oh my gosh, they cannot. There it is. And Ottawa's going to the playoffs, I think. Yeah, there it is. Isaiah Moore got it, and they're waving. They're doing all the talking they were doing in Winnipeg. So, hey, man, this team could be scary in the East. I'm excited for that. But, hey, Mamba are scary in the West, too. They got one more game tomorrow, so at least, there's a little bit of an advantage there maybe for Winnipeg. So they'll have one more day of rest and a chance to travel and kind of catch their breath. But, this is you guys are all online or you're not out of line to be concerned. But, again, it's just moving past this one. Nothing that happened in the regular season matters. From this game to Teddy's 54-point game, it's all done. You turn the page and you move on. And that's what Winnipeg has to figure out how to do, is just put this one past them. Look at the tape, take what you have to, but don't get into your confidence. The guys like, the Teddy Allens, the Isaiah Osborns, hey, man, if those are the games you had to work off the rest and you start hitting shots when it matters most, I mean, at this point, all you need is what? 4 more wins to take it home, but it's one at a time because it's not a series. You have to win one, and then you have to win one more, and then you have to win 2, right? So this is not it's not the panic button, but there's certainly things that, if I'm the Seabears, I'm looking at this and saying, hey, I know we had a tough flight, I know we had the adversity, but at the end of the day, we couldn't overcome this. That was out of our control, but here's what we could control. And, we weren't able to do that. But I'm just going to go over the stats here. Teddy is 3 for 15 from the field, 20% again. He was 21% or maybe less last game. 14 points. He was getting to the free throw line, 6 for 6 from the free throw line. I thought Simon's 9 were big. He got to the free throw line a few times. He had 3 rebounds. Xavier Moon, 6 rebounds, only 1 assist. To me, that is the part that I'd be a little more concerned with Xavier Moon today. Only 1 assist is tough. He had 15 points, mind you. He was 50% from the field, but he's the guy that they look to create things, and he had 1 assist to his 4 turnovers. Xavier, that's not acceptable to Xavier Moon, right? I anticipate that to be a motivator for him going into the playoffs. Isaiah Osborne, 4 for 13, 0 for 4 from 3. So after he broke the goose egg last game, kind of falling back into old habits. And then Jeremiah Tillman Jr., kind of a non-factor after his big game, right? Jeremiah Till Monster just didn't pan out today. Maybe I should stop giving guys nicknames, because as soon as I do, they don't have great games. So noted. Jelani Watson-Gale off the bench. He played 17 minutes, 2 for 9. Manuel Acott, though, 20 points in 27 minutes. I thought he played really well. This is probably his best game as a Sea Bear. And I think that's a big reason as to why I think they're going to have a little bit of momentum. Listen, a 24-point victory loss is not great, but it's better than a 34-point loss or a 33-point loss like Winnipeg handed to Vancouver. This has been a weird series. Vancouver won it, but Winnipeg really took it to them in the one win that they had. So, again, it's a long season. The team that played that game is a lot different from this team on both sides. And this is the team that they have. There's no more help coming in. They've got to figure it out with who they have. Someone had brought up, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it here. What else did I want to share? I had something brought up. Yeah, just the standings. That's not a big deal. But yeah, and I won't put you guys through the highlights again. I'm not going to be mean. Someone was asking about Trey McGowan's, why he didn't play, and that they need Trey McGowan's. I think that might have been a little bit of gamesmanship. They have not played Trey McGowan's in the last 2 games against Vancouver, and I thought for sure he'd be in the lineup just because of the sheer size. I expect he'll be in the lineup for sure in the playoffs, and if they play Vancouver again, I think they would probably go him over Jelani Watson-Gale. I think they're just trying to balance, Watson-Gale and McGowan's, who are, again, because of the import rule, you can only have 5, and they've got 6, right? And you're not taking out Moon, you're not taking out Teddy, and you're not taking out Jeremiah Tillman Jr. So, you got to work with what you got, and it's unfortunate, but I also think part of it is, let's not give them a chance to plan for how we're going to play them with Trey McGowan's. We'll see if it works, if that's even the case. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I was a little shocked to see him there too. So, this is the 16%. I think that was for the Teddy stat, right? Stat guy, Ty. Yeah, and Teddy played more than 40 minutes last game. How much did he play here this game? Teddy had, again, just shy of 28 points. Oh, because I'm on here, it's not going to pop up. Never mind. All right. Great. But he's like, Teddy plays a lot of minutes. They need him to be a little bit more effective. Time to start the cliches. 1 game at a time, 1 person at a time. We're in this together. I'm only showing up so I don't get fined. Yeah. Or 1 possession, not person. Yeah. Okay. That's I got you. I got you, John. But you're right. And sometimes like cliches are cliches for a reason, but they need to be action. They can't be words. Right. And all of those things are very much true. You cannot look past Thursday. Yes, he was. Sorry to clarify. I know he was already eligible, but you're trying to keep the balance of rhythm. And I think they were. Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's because Andrew asked. Sorry. Yeah. Andrew was just asking about the eligibility for Watson-Gale. No, I think it's more rhythm, making sure guys are getting their feel before playoffs. It's a tough balance, man. It's a gift and a curse when you have these guys that are imports that are great players. But when you're trying to work everything out, it can be a little tough. But going to bring up this one more time here so you could just see the top scorers. Acott had 25 rebounds and 2 steals. Mulder, 29 points, 4 rebounds, was 91% from the field. And the only miss was a 3-pointer where he was 7 for 8. So Michael Mulder doing a lot of the heavy lifting here in that game and was the difference in this one. And it's a tough one here for the Sea Bears. Humbling loss going into the playoffs. You'd probably want to go on a win. Vancouver's feeling really good. They went and clinched the West as they set out to do early on this season. And now it's all set. There's no looking back. You can't do anything about it. Winnipeg is second in the West. They will play Saskatoon on Thursday. Vancouver will host Edmonton. And we'll see where it goes from there. If Vancouver and Winnipeg win, it'll be Winnipeg and Vancouver next Saturday. in Vancouver again, and you can't have the same effort regardless of what the travel is. So, hopefully everything goes smoothly from here. You never know what can happen. Let's not count out Saskatoon and Edmonton. There's playoffs to be played, and I'm excited for it. You can watch the game, the Thursday game, 7:00 on just the normal streaming. So CBC Gem, CBC Sports, YouTube, CEBL YouTube, CBL Plus. The Vancouver game is on national TV on TSN and CBC. And after that, they will all be national games if Winnipeg can get past that first round. They haven't done it. They have not won a playoff game yet. Will they do it Thursday? I know you're all hoping to see that. So it'd be great if they can pull that off, especially at home. Sorry, Tyler. Thank you. 7:30 is the start, not 7:00. But you want to get there early, right? You want to make sure you got your popcorn ready and you're all set to go. So get there early. This is a tough one. But hey, we got Thursday. Playoffs are coming up. Sit with this tonight. Tomorrow's a new day. They'll be practicing. We'll have coverage throughout the week. Make sure you're tuned in. Like, subscribe, have the notifications on. We will have a normal episode, game day for the playoffs and our post game. All is normal programming, as will Vancouver and Brampton, because guess what? All of the Target Score Network shows are in the playoffs, and we are looking forward to it. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll do it all again on Thursday. Have a good night.
Thank you.